Welcome back to the last session of this year's Tuska Forum by Bleeding Metal podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing with us this last session, crown jewel of the program, I guess. Thank you so much for joining me, and please give it up for Lotta and Faye. I'm Kiki, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm so happy to be here on this stage, sitting with two amazing women of the industry, women in metal. And if you want to see more of that on this festival, I think you should put that in Tuska's comments, I think. Seeing the few announcements that they did for the next year's lineup, I think it's good to just nudge them in the right direction. We were just thinking Luna Kills would be a great main stage opener for next year. Right? Yes. Are there any Luna Kills fans here? There we go.
That's so cool.
There we go. Yes, and that's how we know our first guest. Our second guest is Faye and works as a touring music photographer, videographer, and social media manager. And all right, let's give them some applause before we continue. Yeah. Thank you. So for the next 45 minutes, we have a lot of time. We can chat very, very relaxed. We will try to find out how important nowadays visual art is in music. And if you've been in the forum before, you know what to do with that QR code. And if you are a first-timer, this is meant to be scanned to submit your questions. We will have a Q&A session for the last 15 minutes of our session. And now I was thinking we could start by each of you telling us about yourselves and your work, but with the prompt of what was the first music video that you remember, like the first music video that made an impact on you?
I think for me it was Nirvana "Smells Like Teen Spirit." That's probably the first one, and I think it was so cool. I was a big Nirvana fan and Kurt Cobain fangirly, so that's something that stuck with me. Yeah.
Wow.
It's really hard to think about, but I think I don't even know the song. It's like this Parkway Drive video where they surf, and then they rip off like their shirts and it's a wetsuit, and it's so stupid. So that's why it's kind of, I don't know. It's the first one that came to my mind. I don't know. It's like 20 years old by now, something like that.
Right. It's been such a development, though. We used to have MTV. We used to have all those channels where we would see all those visuals combined with the music all the time. And nowadays, I think there's a shift. And obviously, the biggest shift is that we now have those screens in our pockets all the time, and we are seeing those things all the time. So, how would you say? How does someone stand out nowadays with visual content?
Well, I think you can stand out if you have your own creative vision. And I think it's still really important to make good videos, even though we have screens and even though we live in a TikTok age, I would say. And I think every time when you're doing something authentic and something that aligns, when we're talking about making music videos, for example, if you are authentic to the vision you have with your music and with your band, it will shine through it. So it's just authenticity what will come through for me personally, because when I look at music videos made these days, there are a lot of similar type of things being done, but now and then there will be a very good music video that is very suited for the music and for the band or the artist itself. So yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I think it's still really important, and just the general visual consistency that goes over all platforms, that goes from social media to all the promo to music videos to the whole thing, which is what makes people remember you and remember an artist. And if it changes consistently, you'd never know who it is. It will change. And like you said, you see a lot of people doing the same thing. Are just we have to do a music video, and it's just performance, and that's it. There's no storytelling. There's no visual art or anything, and nobody's gonna remember that. It's just it's another music video.
Yeah. And like you said, it's important to have it throughout the band's image. like promo pictures, cover art, everything along those lines. It's good to have the consistency and build up the story of the maybe the next record drop or something like that, but something that is uniquely yours. Yeah.
It also stays over like multiple cycles or eras, and it's like it can change, and you always have like a lot of room to play, but it's still like your identity that you keep, and from there on, yeah. And that's kind of also like the job of creatives to like make sure that the audible becomes visible, and it stays consistent like that, and people will remember it.
Yes, making the audible visible. That is such a cool purpose to have, kind of. Would you say that? Tell us a little bit about yourself, Faye. When did you start doing photography and then later videography?
I mean, I started photography like when I was like 15, but mostly as like a fashion blogger, stuff like that, before there was any social media and anything like that. But I hated being in front of a camera, so switched sides. Yeah, and then right before COVID started, I didn't have any money for festival tickets, so I just applied for press accreditation and ended up in a pit and was like, okay, I want to do this. And then COVID happened, so nothing happened for 2 years. But it meant I had like 2 years to prepare myself, and I just went crazy and like tried to get everywhere, tried to get work with artists, tried to work with press. And yeah, so now I've been full-time touring since 2023, pretty much all year round. Like I had the longest break for 2 months earlier this year, and that was it. Before, like, otherwise I'm like always on the road, and I've been like traveling full-time for 7 years anyway, so I don't live anywhere, and that kind of helps.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then yeah, video comes along naturally because you have to. Like, if you want to tour these days, you have to be able to do both because nobody has the budget to hire two people except if you're huge. And then you already, like, you will not book someone who can only do one thing because there's no budget and there's no space on buses. Yeah, and it's like it's being fast, being having your own visual image again. That's like you have your own visual language and you combine it with the artist's vision, so it becomes like a thing together.
Yeah.
And it's not just you because yeah, you're, like we said before, it's the making the music visible and not just your own voice.
Lotta, how about you? When did you start making music videos?
um, I started making music videos, I think, around 2022 because we did not have the budget to, hire anyone. And actually, that's the reason that I became photographer and graphic designer in the first place because
Wow.
I had like very strong vision about our band and how I wanted to approach it. But we did not have the budget to outsource it, so I started learning everything until I fell into into this profession. And the first music video I made was our music video called "Here for the Drama," and I shot it at my parents' bedroom with full drum kit and all. And also at my own apartment, and I made our bass player film it without no, professional training or anything, and I just yelled at him to get the shots. And it was awesome and nerve-wracking. But yeah, that was the first music video I made. And then after that, I have made like a few for the bands, few for artists, and also 3D music videos as well, because they are these days the rage. So I learned to do stuff with Blender and, do visualizers and things like that. And yeah, so I have just learned and done things. And whenever a client comes and asks me to do something, I just say instantly yes.
Yeah.
And then I start to Google, can I do it myself? And I always can. So,
Yes.
challenges are great.
So both of you were autodidacts. Did you just learn by yourself? Did you ever have formal training, attend classes, or was it just YouTube tutorials and books?
I mean, for me, it was just learning by doing. And like you said, whenever something comes along that I didn't know, you just Google and watch YouTube videos. And like, I mean, a lot of is like watching other people like in the same industry watch their art and then just taking it apart. Like, how did they do this? How does it work? And then you take elements out of it and make it your own. And I think the process never stops. Like, no matter where you are, your colleagues always should be your biggest inspiration, and not like you're not fighting against them, you're fighting with them. Um, so yeah, no, I never had any formal training. Like I have completely different degrees. I started completely somewhere else. But in the end, everything comes back. Like all your skills that you collect during your life, they will like help you somewhere along the way, and they will pop up again. So the more skills you collect, like the more things you can do.
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure. I didn't initially have any like formal training or anything like that. Then I wanted to go and grab, a degree for photography because I thought it would like get me more work, which it didn't. And I ended up teaching
Wow.
throughout the school, yeah, because I had like pretty good knowledge about, Photoshop and everything like that. So, and the teachers did not have that. So I taught my schoolmates things, but I have that. But yeah, like Faye said, it's just collecting skills, and when you're like really passionate about your work, you want to learn more all the time, and YouTube has it all. Like you can find anything there. So if you want to start doing something, just go to YouTube. It will tell you everything you want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I recently like accidentally met like a girl who does like YouTube tutorials. And I didn't realize it was her, but I was sitting next to her and heard her voice and was like, "This seems familiar." And I was like, "Oh shit, you taught me Premiere." It's like, "Oh," it's like, yeah, that
Yeah.
was it's like a full circle moment, but it's like that just kind of shows that you learn from the people around
Yeah.
and like what others do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
From your peers. Did you ever also reach out to ask for advice or for help from someone?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's important to do. And like even people who you think are like bigger or like have more experience, some they also don't know everything. So sometimes they come back to you too because you find something else or you figure something out by yourself or you learn it from someone else. And then they come back and ask you when you're like, oh, okay. But yeah, I think it's very important to like just ask if you have a question. I don't think like there shouldn't be any gatekeeping,
Yeah, for
because
sure.
it's art, and like there is not like copying one because it's always your own identity in it. So make it your own. Don't like try to remake something, but take the elements out of it and incorporate it into what you're already doing. And
Yeah.
then you naturally like get better at it or like develop your own visual image.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's all like technical information, and everybody can do what they will with it.
Hmm.
These are softwares we're talking about with, if we were talking about computers or something like that. And the funniest question ever asked is, "What is your camera?" But it's then again, it's your vision, it's what you see and how you see the world, and that's actually really important when you're choosing someone to do your visuals or your photography or whatever, because it's the same than you're going to get a tattoo. You're
Hmm.
not going to get hyper realistic tattoo from a person that does American traditional. It's the same with visual arts. So choose wisely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like yours, it always changes a little bit. Like it will not look exactly the same. Like if you come, like the tattoo thing is the same idea. Like you come with something and it will not look like what your idea is. It looks like the artist and your idea in between. And
Yeah.
Hmm.
that's, I think, comes with all art, or like artists that you hire to do a product for you.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, also in music, in photography, videography, any kind of thing, or graphic
Yeah,
design.
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Do you think you have specialties, favorites, maybe the stuff that you love the most doing or that you do the best?
Regarding what aspect of photography, videography,
Or
or
a
just the style
style?
or
Yeah.
style. I, that's a hard question because I think I have really really like certain type of style that I do, because every time I have done something for someone, people come like, "Did you do this?" Because it looks like you.
Nice.
So I think probably everything I do is my preferred style. I think, but everything that you do comes within you, like Faye said before. So
Hmm.
But I agree. Like, I think you have a very specific image that is easy recognizable, and that's a good thing. Um, because sometimes people are like scared to go into niches. But if you're confident in your niche, people will book you for this,
Yeah,
and
for
you're like
sure.
they will come there for that. They're like we all have taken on jobs that maybe don't like 100% resonate with our own vision, and we adapted a little bit for that specific job because in the end we also all need money.
Yeah.
um, but it's like finding this middle path. Like I had a situation a few months ago where like their vision is very different from mine, and I wasn't even sure like why they booked me because it was like this is not really my style, my thing. So it took like a few days, a few weeks, a few shows to work together to find something that we both liked,
Mm-hmm.
because it also like I tried to do what they wanted and then it felt really wrong for me. And the other way around, if I just did what I wanted, it felt wrong for them. So it took a few days, a few shows, a few tries, and then we found it. So it's like just communication, like with everything. It goes back
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah, absolutely. You were just mentioning 3D videos.
Yeah.
And lyric videos as well.
Yeah.
Those had like a surge a few years ago, and everything we saw was lyric videos. And I we were talking. I guess the media was talking about the death of the music video, and what you were saying as well before. There's this lack of storytelling sometimes. Some of course it's also a consideration of a budget, etc. But there is a lot of performance videos or live video content. But would you say the music video is dead, or is it still dead, or did it die at any point?
I don't think so. I might be biased, but you know, uh, there is. You can go to YouTube and you can see bands doing numbers with music videos. Personally, I love to see a music video, like well created music video for a song, because you can make a song better with a good music video, and I don't think you can do it like other way around, but you know, it's good to see the visuals because it's part of the story. It's part of what the lyrics are about. It's part of what the band is all about. And it's a shame that we don't have like these, you know, MTV kind of things anymore, because I grew up watching those channels. I love to watch music videos personally. And you can still adapt all of those videos to social media, like TikTok, like Reels, whether it's in the correct format or not, but people will watch them nevertheless.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's dead in the water by all means.
Same. I agree. I don't think it died. I see where like the thought was coming from, because it like there is a new platform that opened up that you also like feed with video content via. Before, the only video content you had was music videos and live footage, and that's it. So like loads of bands that like live DVDs and stuff like that. That's the only chance you have to watch like live footage. While now you have it all over social media, and it gives you we have a lot more chances to get creative with it, instead of like just film the show or like just film like one music video, but you can create a whole universe around it.
Yeah.
So a music like I think sometimes when, like we said, if it's just a performance video and then people are complaining that they don't have a budget for anything else, then it's maybe not the smartest thing to do that and spend all of your money into that, instead of creating a brand and creating a whole universe first, and then see, okay, let's underline it all with like very smart, strategically placed music videos to certain songs to tell the story of a record or an album, an EP, or whatever it is, or a certain era these days, because not everybody releases just albums anymore.
Yeah.
And I think it's just much more, not just in two places, but there is a much more wider spectrum that has to
Yeah.
be fed. But no, I don't think it died, and I don't think it will ever die. It also got a lot more cinematic.
Yeah, yeah,
Which is
and
great.
it's really cool to see like bands like Bad Omens doing those huge like cinematic music videos. Very cool to see, and also very cool to see like known actors like being a part of those kind of things. So that's cool. But I just want to add a little bit more like there the budget thing, that you can make smaller budget videos that still you know serve your band, serve your sound, serve the image you want to portray. But like you said, it has to be like very strategical way to you put that money. But you can get a lot of content from one music video as well, if we want to talk about content. But you know,
Yeah.
There's also a big difference between like younger artists and older artists
Yeah, for
because
sure.
the older ones they only know like okay we have to do a music video for this single for this song to push it, and then you end up with like this situation that you spend money and it doesn't do what you wanted it to do. While younger bands they like that these artists grew up or at least like were introduced very early on to like the internet and social media and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of where it's a big difference also like to convince people to think about it like
Yeah.
first, and then I feel like the older ones they automatically like think of a higher budget and then are not always that great to like diverse it,
Yeah, yeah, for
and then
sure.
able to like do lower budget music videos but have budget for other things as well.
Yeah.
And that's why yeah like you said like if you start from the beginning thinking like that you absolutely can do things on lower budget. So if you hire people who know what they're doing, they can give you more assets out of one thing. Like you said, you can use visualizers out of music videos,
Yeah, yeah.
slow them down, have them put like lyrics over, put them on all platforms possible. Like, yeah, if you think smart and just yeah, hire the right people who know what they're doing.
Yeah, and maybe like if you see someone that's doing a work that you really like, they are going to understand you. They're going to get you. They're going to know what you are aiming for, what your goal is. So that's why it's also very important to get in with the right people that serve the vision that you have. So it's more easier, and maybe the ideas bounce more, quickly, and you find the right note with each other. Yeah.
And it's not like anything personal if like someone doesn't work with you as an artist, or like even if you're in the position to be able to do it, to say no to things because like the art has to match, and if
Yeah.
it doesn't then I'm not the right person for it, or
Yeah.
like you're not the right person for it. And that's completely fine. There should never be any hard feelings for that, or like when
No.
bands like artists change through time, it just makes sense to also like adapt their people that they hire for that, or see hey can we find a middle way.
Yeah,
There's
for
both
sure.
options. Depends on how drastic the changes are.
Yeah, 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 for sure. And if I get contacted a lot, and there might be, the visions are not like we don't have the same visions or something like that, or someone comes to me and asks me to do something that is out of my range or something that I wouldn't like personally go for, and it's okay. Then I just say that the work is not probably you're not going to probably like what I'm going to put out for you. So, and then I can like recommend my colleagues that might fit the vision better.
Yeah.
So yeah, no
I
hard
think-
feelings.
No, I think that's also an important thing. Like I said, all your colleagues are like they shouldn't be your competition.
Yeah.
So it's great to like recommend people, and the more you work in these industries, the more people you meet, and the more diverse like your backlog of people of like different styles you have. And the people you recommend, like sometimes it's different if you need a replacement for yourself, then someone should have a similar style
Yeah.
to you, or if you need someone just with a different style. I have people that I would always recommend for like replacing me, and others for certain styles. They were different people, and like I think they're all really, really great. Otherwise, I would not recommend them.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like the thing I think we said it before. It's like mention your friends' names in every room where there's an opportunity for them. Yeah, and I think that is very important.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's that's even more important when it's women in metal, and we need more women in metal, and to be recommending each other so that people know, because they excuse, and it is an excuse, it's a bullshit excuse that a lot of all across the industry, when bookers say that there are not enough women on their stages, they say, but there are not enough women. Where are the good women? We concentrate on the sound. We just want the people who are good. They're incredible women slaying all over the stages of the world, and they should be everywhere. You just have to look further. And then bands, they're also like, okay, well, who is your photographer? Who is your graphic artist, graphic designer? And they're like, oh, my guy friend who we've been working with for 20 years. It's like, well, that's why the industry doesn't change, because you haven't looked a little further.
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
that's why some people also get stuck because they just stay with their buddy, and then like it doesn't adapt to the change of like the world, or what like the social media that came up in the meantime. And since like these bands started 20, 30 years ago, like so much changed. And if you still use the same person who like never had like a visual language, they're not bad in any way. But if like it doesn't match anymore with your visuals or your goals, like if you want to grow, you have to do different strategies now than you had to do it 10, 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And if these people just weren't able to, or that's not their, like, that's not what they specialize in, then they're gonna hold you back, and
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
want that. Like an image that doesn't say anything, it will not bring you anywhere because you're not able to communicate your what you believe in or what your art is about to the people.
Or it will just get boring.
Yeah.
After a
Sometimes
while.
change is good, you know.
Yes, yes,
They
absolutely.
just scroll through.
Yeah.
And then you don't stop, and everybody wonders why.
Exactly. Now, before we go over the audience questions, and this is a reminder that you can scan the QR code to submit your questions, we have to go over the robotic elephant in the room. Artificial intelligence
Oh,
is a lot.
nice. I was waiting
Can
this.
we? Can we rant? Yes, this is the moment to rant. But I wanted to mention a band from Canada with an incredible woman in metal, Unleash the Archers. They brought out an album in 2024 called Fantoma, and the storytelling in the whole album was about robots and wanting to bring back the humanity, etc. And they did a music video with AI, and they were very transparent about it, and they still got a lot of backlash. Obviously, it's a very controversial topic. So, how are we on that front?
All right. Yeah, I dislike AI very, very much. Not because of you know, it's getting us to brain rot eventually because no one's gonna pick up a new skill, and the AI is stealing from artists. But it also takes away from the resources of our planet, and that's well recorded, as well as it's making the cost of hardware more expensive. Like as a photographer and videographer and video maker, I cannot get an SSD drive like at a good price at the moment. But that's like, you know, I think the part of the vision and part of the things that we put from ourselves to the art is about humanity, is about us, and you should never skip because you don't have the talent, because everybody has talents and everybody can learn. Like I said, YouTube is there, and it's better to try to put something from yourself into the art rather than just taking the, you know, fast road and putting something to the prompt and getting something out. And you can always tell when it's AI every time, and all the time it looks like, you know, slop to me.
Yeah.
So that's my stance.
No,
Yes.
I agree with you. Also, because of the SSD problem, like
Yeah.
whenever someone is like,
That's
"Oh, but
true.
you can just use AI," and I'm like, I would really like to afford SSDs again one day, because they like, I think most people don't know, but it's like an SSD is like where we save all of our data, and like the prices went up like 5, 6,
Yeah.
7 times as much as they were like a year ago or something.
Yeah, and that's why also PlayStations are like costing more and Xboxes are costing more. So just putting that out there.
Yeah. So that makes like, and people, they don't pay you more, but we have to pay more money to store their data.
Yeah.
And that gets so expensive. But yeah, like you said, I agree. Like, I'm also against using AI in various forms. There is, like, we've been using like algorithm-based things for editing and stuff on
Yeah.
programs like that. And I think there is a difference between using tools like this to like work that are not like creating for you or copying other artists, but they're like tools, like something you use to edit something, like a line or like masking stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that's very different from like
Yeah,
using AI.
yeah.
as
I was
making
like
art.
talking about full music videos,
Yeah, I'm
full
for with that.
songs these
Yes.
days, full cover art,
Yeah.
and this is still like really hot topic, even though it has been like widely discussed that a lot of people dislike AI. But now and again, I always come up with like a post where someone has done like their cover art with AI, and they're asking like, what is your stance about making this art with AI? And they would never apply it to the music because somehow that is more sacred than the art on the cover or the music video or something like that. But it's the same discussion. It's still not human-made art, and it's still taking away someone else's style, someone else's work. AI is being trained with real humans. There has been this search with, I think the program is called Suno, which makes like music, and there is people doing like, you know, emo music with these very famous voices, and they are putting it out to Spotify as their own, and I think that is really, really problematic.
I mean, they're gigantic. There's so many. The percentage is getting higher and higher of like AI artists
Yeah.
for music, but it comes to every form of art, like from like like creative designers, anything, even writers. Like when people go and they travel or go somewhere, they just ask ChatGPT to give them a prompt of like a travel journey instead of reading a blog of someone who was actually there. And all it does is like analyze all these blogs and just make something up. And I feel like you can never like recreate the human part of it.
Yeah.
It's always like the robot behind it. And I think there's beauty of like going back to simple and like listening to an actual human having an experience or creating something and putting the love into it. And you can never really replace that. And I hope people don't forget that.
Yeah, and that goes back to the statement that I made before, that authenticity will shine through. And if you make things with AI, there is no authenticity in that for me. And you can see that there is not like aspect of something that you have made put into that art.
Yeah.
And it's not about being perfect. Like music videos, music, it's not about being perfect. It's not about getting to some sort of standard with it. It's about making something yourself, saying things you want to say for people. And that's what's like really at the core of every sort of art we make. And that's important to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that because of all the AI slop that we are listening to, especially, I think that we are going to, as a whole, and hopefully as a metal community especially, go back to appreciate the raw sound, the mistakes that humans make. That's how we recognize that it's actually organic made. That's how I say it.
Yeah.
And I had one concern. I've also been opposed to the use of AI in art forever, but I had one question that made me think a little bit, and was the accessibility factor. You know, for people who have disabilities and are just not able to do that. And Lindsay Schoolcraft, amazing artist from Canada, gave me the perfect answer to that, and is the community aspect. Like, if you're not able to do something but have a great idea, reach out. Reach out to musicians, reach out to visual artists, and people will probably help you out and make your idea happen. And collaboration enriches art so immensely anyway.
Yeah, I agree. And like there will always be, like you said, people who will be able to get your vision out, or just use tools, like not like have the art made for you, but use tools that like there are so many new accessibility tools that help you do things, but they don't create it for you. They don't like they don't necessarily have to be AI at all. Like lots of them are not. Lots of them are algorithm based, or like just people developing new things to do that. And I think a lot is possible for a lot of disabilities today without like creating with AI or like just telling them to do something for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. We have a few questions from the audience, and talking about the topic, AI looks like AI for us in visuals. Human made is different, but how do you teach the young to know, to recognize the difference and to appreciate it?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know how you would like teach someone to see it. I think these days there are AI that is harder to detect than the other side of it. But I think it's in Finland, for example, we have a great, artistic community, and we have art being taught at schools and everything like that. So I think that is an aspect to try to maintain with the youth. So they can have the joy of learning to do with themselves, like art with themselves, and they can make music and art and everything from scratch. And maybe that's enough to get the spark started. I know that there is with TikTok and the social media these days, there is a lot of like worrisome things happening with our attention spans and everything. And I don't have any answers to how to start correcting that, because I think I'm like slowly losing myself to the brain rot bit by bit. But I think that it's just important to try to care for the education, art education, and sticking with yourself when you're making something, like sticking and not going to the bandwagon of everyone else using AI or something like that.
Yeah, and going back, like maybe back down history of certain
Yeah.
art forms, like how do people start when we had nothing, like when there was no internet, like how were stuff, how were music videos or any kind of like content back then? It wasn't called content, made back then, and then like backtrack and teach that so they actually see this
Yeah.
is what how you make it, and it's not just oh it just exists, which is this kind of scary thing. Like these
Yeah.
days, anything out of like thin air can just exist, and it's important to teach how things are actually made and that you are able to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
And also, I have seen that every time like artists post like on TikTok or something like that, mostly when talking about 3D art or something like that, there are people calling it AI because they don't believe that humans can make those things. So
Right.
that is worrisome as well. But
Right.
you know, it's good that we have like that sort of educational content on YouTube, on TikTok, where the artists are showing how they're doing those things. So
Yeah.
it's possible to learn and do it.
Yeah. And I also think, and Faye, you maybe can speak to that a little bit more. I think it's the responsibility of politicians to regulate those things as well. There's been talk about, kind of putting stickers, just like we have stickers in the supermarket with organic produce. We can have stickers in the streaming platforms and on YouTube and everywhere that are visible and more recognizable. This is human made, and this is not.
I think we already have that on. I think we already have that on like social media platforms that like Instagram labels it as AI. And I think that should be like all across everything. Like yeah, Spotify, Apple, they should all label it. All
And
kinds
not
of
optional.
no
Like,
optional. It should be like mandatory, and then you can choose what you want to consume, and it's not just there and you don't know what you're consuming, because sometimes these like hyper realistic videos you don't even know what it is, and then you see a little glitch and you're like, oh shit, this was
Yeah.
actually not real.
Yeah, there's a raccoon with like 10 toes or something like that.
exactly. We have another question. What would you say are your strengths, specifically as women in metal, and how does that show in your work?
I think it's like I can speak for myself, which was mostly I mostly work in touring. I've worked in crews where there were like 70 people and I was the only woman, or like we were like two women and one was the front person, which shouldn't be that way. And you can see like I can always feel if a band has been, or an artist or a group or crew, didn't have a woman in their realm for a while. Like it's very different. It looks very different. It feels very different. I think we had a lot of like communication into it, because that's where a lot of like all male groups lack. Like nobody like motivates each other to communicate. And I feel like if a woman enters that space, it's we need to, because otherwise we are not going to be happy, or like our needs are going to be filled. So I think this is something that every like not just women, all kinds of like people, non-cis males, add into groups, and why it's so important to have like yeah very
Diversity.
Yeah.
diverse groups and like actively hire people who are not just white cis men.
Yeah, that's also my experience, and I've been also touring and being in situations with just like all the other bands, they're all males. So whenever I'm like longer periods of time with those groups, the communication is different, and people start to be more nice to each other for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's emotional intelligence that is
Yes.
in play. And I've also have the privilege to be on tour with you, so that was like great experience for me to have, you know.
It's always great to have other women on tour.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But I think that is the emotional intelligence part, and we do have really, really thick skin, and like there's nothing that can surprise us. We have heard all the jokes, we have heard like everything there is to, you know.
Sometimes they don't even notice, and then you
No.
correct it, and they're like, "Oh, like they didn't even realize like that it's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
appropriate, or that it's because they just have been doing it for so many years, and
Yeah.
nobody thought about it, and everybody always laughs."
yeah,
So once you question it, it's like throwing them out of a bubble and being like, "Oh, wow,
yeah,
actually, yeah, I agree. This is not what I believe in.
yeah. Because
Why have I been saying this for so long?"
yeah, and because it's usually like very stereotypical sort of things.
Yeah.
Um, that that are used as jokes or something like that. And I think uh, and I think that this all applies to to every like woman in male-dominated fields.
Mhm.
And yeah, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I mean, because like otherwise, if not related to touring, our jobs are very by yourself. Like you
Yeah,
don't really
for
work with
sure.
other people in person a lot. And touring is like the most we get in contact with like groups as
Yeah,
being women in like a male dominated space.
yeah,
I had also had the feedback a few times that when you're there, it's like, oh, everything is just calmer or nicer or like
yeah,
things like
yeah,
that, and you're like, well, maybe because
yeah,
you
and
all start talking, and actually, like when you see a problem and you approach it, I hope that people copy it or also see like being inspired by it. And
yeah,
sometimes it's hard not to, like at one point after 4 or 5 weeks on the road, to not have that energy anymore to provide
yeah,
that. But then again, communication and
yeah.
hopefully
Yeah,
we'll see.
I have like called out a lot of bullying on tours, not towards me, but like the
Mhm.
crew towards each other, which is, typically, seen as this sort of male humor, that they are like really violently teasing each other or something like that. And I can see that it affects those persons. They don't like to be bullied. They don't want to be in that situation, but there is, they don't want to say back because they don't want to be the odd one out to say it.
Right.
And then I have been the person to call it out. And I think that everything after those sort of events have been much more calmer, and people have been much more nicer, and they don't have the, will to go and make people miserable because it's like expected of you or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Like they don't even realize it. Like then you're
No.
just like, so how did that make you feel? And they're like, oh, made
Like
me
shit.
feel. I'm like, oh, actually, I didn't like it. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we don't do that anymore. Like, I definitely called a lot of sexism out that people just don't realize. Not against me, because they. I hope. Like, I'm very careful. We talked about it. Who I work with, but like against just like random women they say online or just anything, just like comments where they don't think, like just make it.
Yeah.
Just calling things like this out, like, hey, this is actually not okay. Would you say this to me too? And they're like, no, never. And I'm like, yeah, then don't do
Yeah.
it for other people.
Yeah. Would you
Other
say this to your mother, your
exactly,
sister?
exactly. And then you
Yeah.
like just like, would you say it to me? Like, no, never. I like you're great. Like, yeah. So don't do it about people you don't know.
Right. Another thing that I think is very important to talk about is money. And we have a very good question here, Anonymous, as well. What kind of ballpark in euro we're talking about in the making of music videos nowadays?
It really depends. It depends on on your budget. You can make good music videos for 500 euros if you can apply your own skill set or have friends to help you out. And then there are the 10,000 euro budgets as well or more. But average music video about these days costs something between 200 and 2,500 to maybe 5,000 euros. That's the
All right. Like I don't do music videos. I've just seen like I've done a lot of behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, I agree. Like if the bigger the production, the bigger the
yeah.
idea, like the more expensive it gets.
What
Yeah,
about what you offer, the services you offer?
yeah, that's very different. It's a gigantic range. Also because like I work in metal and pop, and like it's like when I have multiple requests, then I cannot like give space to the ones who cannot pay that much. But if I have nothing, I'm much more like open to like work with smaller artists. Also because it's always also an investment. But like I'm very vocal about never working for free. Like even
Yeah.
if it's just a symbolic amount in the beginning when you start off. Because once you start doing it for free, people will always expect you to do it
Yeah,
for free, and they will
sure.
never take you seriously as a professional. Like I've never worked for free from the get go. I mean, it definitely wasn't worth like a lot of money in the beginning when you just started trying, but it's like establishing that you're serious and you take yourself serious, especially like
Yeah.
for as women. I think that's important because I've seen a lot more women who do things for free because they're like, oh my god, I love this artist, and they ask me, and
Yeah.
I want to be there, like I want to work with them, and then like yeah, but for them to take you seriously, you have to charge like any other person would. Um, so yeah, it's like once you like from the get go, you establish your worth, and that kind of stays with it, and then you can grow with them.
Yeah.
Um, but you never, yeah, and you always go like, how big is an artist? How much is the other crew paid? Um, just ask. communicate,
yeah.
like ask for their budget, and then you can find a middle point. Like when you don't know, ask what their budget is, and then see, okay, what do you need, and what can we find in the middle? Like it's like very fluctuating.
Yeah, and for me, I usually and mostly just work with artists, and I'm really glad that I'm able to do that. And I usually tell everybody when they ask my pricing that we can talk about it, what your needs are, because, like you said, it's important that we cannot work for free because it is a lot of work. And when you're making a full music video, for example, you have to considerate, the equipment that the videographer uses, the time what goes into filming and what goes into the editing, and also the editing style, because for me it is like very certain type of style, and I don't do less than that. That is my style, and I'm sticking to that. But I also, every time I want to see if we can find something, if we can work out something, because I also, as an artist, know that we don't have a lot, like large budgets, and we have to, hustle ourselves very much. So every time someone, asks me and maybe thinks that the price ranges are too high for them, I just say, if you want to talk about it, I'm open for it, and see what works for me and what works for you. It's not a problem for me.
Yeah, same. Like we can just, okay, but what do you really need? What's the most
Yeah.
important thing you need, and where can we go down? Like what can we do less of it? Like
Yeah.
what's the middle? Like I can't do like the full everything, photo, video, social media for like a lower price, but we can find maybe something that works for both of
Yeah.
us.
And I think what you said before is also really important, not to just do things because you think you should do them, or
professional, it's also my job and my duty to, map those things out with the client. And I'm very happy to discuss about those sort of things, and what sort of release it's going to be. Is it going to be single? Is it going to be album? Can we do like a bigger, range of things for the album release or something like that? And then we can figure out if it's, what is something that they could be, using the budget for, and something like that.
Yeah, exactly the same. Like it goes
Yeah.
from like we're not just taking live photos or just creating tour footage, but we're creating like what is the social media strategy?
Yeah.
Can we combine it like with the visuals of the album or like of the
Yeah.
tour? What is the vibe we want to go for? And then combine it with analyzing social media and like what is working, what is not working, and adjust the content according to it.
Yeah.
And like younger or like newer artists have much more of an opinion about that than older ones. Also, the audience behaves very differently.
Yeah, for sure.
If the age range is for people who, until they were adults, had no social media access, than if it's for new ones.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all that insight, for all your expertise, and thank you to the audience as well. Please give it up for these amazing women in metal.
Thank you. It was so nice to be here.